Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 was released the 15th of September 2009 and is the best Marvel game ever made. It is obviously based off of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1, which is also a very good game. However, I personally think that 2 improves on the formula in a lot of ways. And for any Marvel fans out there that haven't played Ultimate Alliance 1 or 2, I would heavily suggest that you play both of these. However, whether you have or haven't played it, I wouldn't worry too much about spoilers because the game is basically Civil War from the comics. So before I break down too much about what the game is about, let me give you a quick overview of what this story is about. So the plot starts off with Nick Fury taking a team of superheroes to take down Lucia von Bardus, who's been supplying weapons to the Tinkerer. This mission for them is a success at the time. However, it has actions later on which leads to the Superhero Registration Act, similar to what we see in Civil War. Apart from these small changes, everything plays out similar to the comics. With the New Warriors, they fight a villain named Nitro who takes the lives of 600 civilians, which leads to the Superhero Registration Act immediately being passed. However, Captain America leads the charge of the heroes that oppose the act and believe that heroes should not have to work with the government, and soldiers known as the White Star form together with him to create the Anti-Registration Act. And in response, the other side, led by Tony Stark, Iron Man, develops nanite technology which allows them to mind control multiple villains to work alongside them. This works in the game by letting you play as those villains as well as the heroes, so you can play pro or anti-registration, and you can play as any of the heroes on that side or the villains. This also adds more replay factor because you can play as anti or pro registration. Iron Man then stages a trap for the anti-registration heroes by pretending there is a hostage situation that the anti-registration heroes respond to, and they end up having a brawl. You fight as your respective side that you're on. It ultimately turns out that the villains being controlled by nanite technology have become corrupted and someone else is controlling them. And from this point, you work with Nick Fury to find out what has happened to the nanites, and you find out that they have spread throughout the entire planet. You find out who is in control of the nanites, destroy them, and after the final boss, the game ends, and depending on what side you chose, you get 2 different endings, which is either the act is repealed or becomes voluntary. Ultimate Alliance lets you pick a team of 4 heroes and villains, which also lets you have up to 4-player co-op and online. However, the game is like 15 years old now, so the chances of finding an online game are quite low. The game has fun arcade combat with a great story to work alongside it, given that the story is pretty much taken just from the comics, but has some twists that work well. The 4 heroes you can switch between include a choice of 30 heroes and villains, which does include DLC. However, I'm not sure if the DLC is even available separately, so I think if you get the game, then you're just going to be getting the DLC as well. I'm not really sure. Each character has their own separate skill tree, which is very basic but is quite simple to understand. You put points into each one of their 4 abilities or powers, as well as put points into their general upgrades. So each player has a basic attack, grab, that sort of thing, as well as 4 different abilities they can use, which can range from shooting projectiles to aerial attacks and grabs and all sorts of things. And for every pair of hero, there's a separate ultimate ability that they can do together, like the Speedball special with Colossus and Wolverine, although Colossus isn't in the game. And you can also equip boosts for the team, which are also one of the many collectibles that you can find in the game. So along with boosts that upgrade your stamina, health, damage and things like that, you also get a ton of collectibles for information about heroes or various backstory information, as well as audio clips that also share a lot of fun info and trivia, and also some artwork for the game, like concept art and things like that. It's quite nice. And between each mission, you you walk around this hub world, which varies depending on whatever faction you chose. So it will either be Captain America's hideout or Stark Tower, and in each one of these you'll be able to do various things, such as talk to loads of NPCs that have unique dialogue depending on what hero you're talking to them with. A lot of the time it will just be the normal dialogue. However, in some instances you will get character specific dialogue, such as if you talk to the Thing with Human Torch, they might have some sort of interaction there because they're both members of the Fantastic Four. And there are quite a few interactions like this, as well as in the character selection itself, where if you choose a group of people that are a group or have something in common, you'll get a bonus, such as if you choose the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman and Human Torch, you'll get the bonus for the Fantastic Four, as well as one for the X-Men, the Defenders, and things like that. Also in the hub world, you could play minigames which basically consist of short missions which are kill a certain amount of enemies or something like that, and you get more collectibles for doing that, as well as there's also a trivia mode that you can play, which is quite good for if you want to up your Marvel knowledge, although most of them are quite easy. And each hero also has an alternate costume that you can use, which for some heroes is quite good, but to be honest, for most heroes their normal costume is kind of just better than their alternate, especially for some characters like Gambit and Wolverine and Juggernaut, who their normal costume is just so iconic that any other costume just looks weird, especially for Gambit. I think that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 does this a lot better, where they have multiple different costumes you can use for each hero, as well as each costume actually having different effects for the hero, and sometimes even allows you to use different abilities with the hero. Ultimate Alliance 2 does also face a few cons, such as it having quite a few downgrades in terms of customization compared to the first game. Like, you can't choose what abilities you have for each hero. That's locked to the 4 that you have, as well as you can't upgrade your costume or change the costume that much. The previous game had like 4 different outfits for each hero, and they all did different things, as well as more abilities in general. And also, this is one of my favourite games, but I still haven't 100% completed it, because a lot of the achievements require to play co-op, and most of the time you can't do that because nobody's playing this game. I do enjoy this game a lot, but I have to include that. I would give Marvel Ultimate Alliance an 8, maybe a 7 out of 10. I like it a lot. I'd really appreciate if you left a like on the video, and maybe leave a comment down below if you've ever played this game before. And maybe consider subscribing for more video game content. See you in the next one.
Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye. Bye.